guys, Jackie M here. Now I get asked all the time how to cook fried rice, and I happen to be cooking some for myself for lunch earlier, and I thought I might just pull out my video camera and start recording. So this next segment is going to be very rough, it's unedited. So if you're one of those people who are sticklers for perfection, stop watching right now, this is not for you. But if you just want to see how Jackie M cooks fried rice and try and pick up some hints and tips along the way, make sure you follow what's coming up next. Okay, I'm so winging this, is not even funny. I'm going to try and cook some fried rice because I've got some rice left over. If you live in an Asian household, you would usually have like leftover rice like this here. And when you're doing fried rice, the conventional wisdom is to use leftover rice, cold rice, and that actually is one of those conventional wisdoms that actually holds true, because you want to use cold rice that's lost some of its starchiness. When it's hot and it's just been cooked, you tend to find it a little bit sticky. So one of the tricks of cooking good fried rice is to make sure that that there's not too much starchiness, too much liquid in the ingredients that you put into your fried rice. Now what I'm going to do today is a really simple fried rice. I've just dug around my refrigerator to see what I've got. And I've got eggs, so I'm going to throw some eggs in. And now this I actually prepared yesterday, right? This is actually salted egg yolks. You can buy them, or certainly here in Australia anyway, you can buy them in the freezer section of Asian grocery stores. And these are like just packs of salted egg yolks only. They're raw and you have to steam them before you use them. So what I did yesterday was steam it for about 10 minutes and then I blended it in my Thermocook, okay? And you can just mash it up with your cleaver or whatever sort of thing. And this is what it looks like now, okay? And I've got some garlic. You always want garlic, and I'm using fresh garlic for my fried rice here. And this has been minced as well. So minced fresh garlic, you should always have that in your fridge. And what I have, which kind of inspired me to do fried rice today, is some salted fish from Malaysia. In Malaysia, it's called ikan kurau. And you can buy it in Asian grocery stores. Look for salted fish. Ikan kurau, ikan mergui. Okay, sorry. So there are a couple of different types, and this is what it looks like. And this is after it's been soaking in some hot water for a while. And in fact, actually, this is a few days ago. I can't remember what recipe I used it for, but this is basically leftover remnants. It's got bones in it, so you got to be a little bit careful. So this is going to give the saltiness to my fried rice. A little goes a long way with this, so don't go crazy. What else have I got? Oh yeah, so I've got the fresh eggs, I've got the salted eggs, and I've got here what we know as century eggs, okay? And this is what it looks like. You buy it at Asian grocery stores, and it's not actually a century old, though, in spite of the name. And I'm just going to crack it open for you, and this is what it looks like. Just let me get, okay, I'll just use this plate here. Okay, and it's solid, okay? I forget what sort of ingredients they use now to make century eggs with. In Cantonese, it's called pei dan, and usually if you go for yum cha at Asian restaurants or dim sum, they will have a Chinese congee, what they call pei dan sao you zuk, or century egg and lean meat congee. Okay, I don't eat it because I don't eat pork, and they usually use pork. But this is what century egg looks like, okay? And usually you should in fact actually steam it just to solidify the center. Otherwise the center actually goes is actually quite sticky. But I'm not going to bother today because I kind of like, I'm totally doing this on the fly, and I don't want to spend half an hour prepping everything, making them look pretty. So you're going to have to see me in all my messy glory. And I also have some oil here. Okay, this is used oil. I used it to fry, if you've been following me, I used this to fry some crab the other day, and I saved the oil because it's got a nice seafoody aroma about it. So that's one of the philosophies of Asian cooking, or my cooking certainly anyway. Waste not, want not. So you repurpose a lot of things like oil that's been used to fry seafood, okay? Now, I'm just going to turn this on. You can see I'm using a portable stove. I know with fried rice, a lot of people struggle to achieve the kind of heat you want. And the other trick to it is to use a thin wok. This is a thin iron wok. You can pick up at Asian grocery stores. You're going to struggle trying to get the kind of heat you want if you're cooking on an electric stove, but you know, again, you just got to kind of like balance it out with I guess to kind of retain the kind of high heat you want. You want to cook everything in small batches, so don't try and cook for a family of 10, you know, and expect to get the kind of like wok breath that you want to achieve in your fried rice. Okay, so just heating up the wok, you want to get it till it's a little bit smoky. And as far as the kind of ingredients, now, like I said, I'm using salted fish here. That's going to add a lot of the saltiness to it, but I'm also going to throw in a little bit of my chicken stock powder, chicken powder, as it's labeled here. This is a Knorr brand. This one does contain MSG in it. There are other brands of chicken powder. This is kind of like similar to chicken stock granules. So this is starting to smoke now. Let's just throw a bit of oil in there. And now you can see it's smoking quite intensely. I'm going to throw in the rice. That will bring down the heat. I don't actually usually like to use these kinds of wooden paddles when you're cooking stir fries, but my proper wok stirrer thing is over in my garage and I don't want to have to run down to get it. Okay, so I don't know how much you can see over here. Just frying it up. You want to add the oil in small amounts. Don't have like it soaking in oil because that's going to make everything soggy. So the important thing is to be always mindful about how much moisture there is in your dish. Okay, I'm going to throw in the garlic now. Now, usually you will find people put in the oil, then put in the garlic, but because I've gotten the heat so high, if I put in the garlic before I put in anything else, it's going to end up burning the garlic. So I'll put the rice in because I like a high heat for it to be able to treat the rice, but too high a heat is going to burn the garlic. So rice in first for me anyway, followed by the garlic. Okay, so this is going. I'm just going to turn down the heat a little bit. Don't be afraid to adjust the heat when you're doing stir fries. I tend to find a lot of people who aren't accustomed to doing stir fries, they kind of set it on the one setting and then they kind of panic when it gets too hot or whatever. So you are allowed to actually turn it high and low. Okay, so that's that. My peitan. I'm going to, like I said, because I'm doing everything on the fly, I just haven't had time to chop this up. I wanted to show you what it looks like anyway. I'm only going to use half of this. Okay, I'm just going to hold this. You can see it, all black. Just snip, snip, snip. Ideally, you would have wanted to snip it up, chop it into nice even pieces, but this is just my lunch, so I'm not too particular about the aesthetics. So that goes in. Some of the salted egg yolk goes in. Okay, there's going to be plenty of saltiness in this dish, so I'm not going to put soy sauce in it. But even if you do put soy sauce, I would suggest putting very, very small amounts and just adding to it as the soy sauce gets absorbed into the rice. Okay, so there are quite a lot. I'll put the salted egg yolk, which is salty, the century egg, which is sort of salty, and I'm going to put in some of my remnants of my salted fish from my previous cooking adventure. Okay, like I said, it's got bones in it, so just be a little bit careful, and let's just cut it up into tiny little snippets as well. Mix it around. If you want to add the soy sauce, just drizzle it and, you know, mix it around, drizzle some more, and mix it around. Okay, you can see this is still quite dry. Perfect. I'll put a bit of my chicken stock granules in there, not too much. Cover it up. Mix it around some more. I'm going to add a little bit more oil into this because it's drying up a little bit. Just drizzle around the perimeter Mix it in. Okay, now, eggs actually absorb a lot of oil, sort of thing. So before you crack an egg in, just make sure you have enough oil for it to, before you, otherwise it's going to stick to the wok pretty badly, okay? So I'm going to crack 2 eggs in here. I'm putting 2 eggs because I like eggs, but you don't have to. Probably just 1 egg per serve, which should generally be enough. Okay, I'm going to toss the rice and bury the egg with the rice for a little bit. Okay, let it turn up the heat a little bit. Just let it sit for a little bit. Don't get too excited. Another mistake I notice a lot of people make when doing stir fries is they think they have to keep stirring everything. Okay, you are allowed to actually pause, check things out, mix it around, pause again, and so on. Okay. Now, another option with the egg is you can actually pre-fry the egg, take it out, and then toss it back in towards the end. Okay. And that will just give it more of a kind of like, it just makes them look more separate sort of thing, if that's the kind of look and texture you want to achieve. This one, I'm happy for it to just be completely like coated with rice and vice versa. There you go. Pepper. Okay. If you watch me enough, you're going to be able to cook like me, because I do things very much by taste and feel. Which also means that I hate writing recipes. I hate every time you see a blog post of Jackie M's new recipe and all that, you would have known there's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that goes into it, because it's not my nature to sit down and actually record everything down for the world to see, because I do everything by feel. And half the time when I'm sitting down, I try and imagine, okay, how much would you use for that? And then after the fact, I realize, oops, that was probably too much or too little. Okay, that's it. Done. I'm going to serve this up. I'm going to have this for lunch. I'm also going to have other things for lunch. I'm not that sad that I just have a plate of fried rice. But this is going to form part of my rice for today. And you were privy to seeing how I prepared it. Remember, every time you cook rice for the family, cook a little bit extra. And then, you know, what's left over, store it, use it for fried rice. You can freeze it. Fried rice is actually quite resilient that way. Freeze it or stick it in the fridge for a few days before your fried rice attempt. This is what it looks like. Okay. Okay, there you go. And over this screen as well, there you go, that's my fried rice. And as we would say in Malaysia, selamat makan, and I'll catch you next time.